Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports with Mongha. Manchester United have decided that Mason Greenwood would not be will no longer play for Manchester United. United and Greenwood have mutually agreed that his future will be away from Manchester United following the conclusion of the club's internal investigation. Just to do a quick backdrop, Mason Greenwood was charged, was cleared of all charges of misconduct in February of 2023. United after that had their own internal inquiry in April. They came out with that, which started in April, and they've been trying to contemplate how they can proceed with Mason and Greenwood. What's been interesting is they were about to, or like there were discussions of getting Mason Greenwood back after his name was cleared from the internal investigation, and also after he was cleared by the by the judicial laws as well, by the judiciary in the UK. He was also cleared up from all the allegations that he had against him. That after that feeling that Manchester will bring him back, that didn't kind of go well. That did not go well with a lot of domestic abuse groups, misconduct. It caused an uproar for United to think or rethink about what's the future is. Richard Arnold, the club CEO, he basically had to then come out today, and he's come out with a statement which basically reads about the fact that they've had to. This has been an investigation since the footage, the adult audio footage and imagery that was posted online in January 2022, and how it has led, like where it has now led, that the Crown Prosecution Service in February 2023 decided that they dropped all the charges, were dropped, and allegations with Mason and others involved in the case. So it was only when the charges were dropped that the club discussed allegations with Mason and others involved in the case. So it basically was like they waited for the Crown Prosecution Service to come up with a report, and basically they cleared him. Then United started a internal investigation, which basically resulted in the fact that they didn't find anything. So in a timeline, the alleged victim requested the police to drop the investigation in April 22. United were provided with an alternative explanation for the audio recordings, which was short expert from a much longer recording, and for the images posted online. The alleged victim's family participated in the process and were given the opportunity to review and correct our factual findings. Last week, the media reported that we had decided to reintegrate Mason, and that elements of a plan to do so had been leaked to them. Reinstigation was one of the outcomes we had considered for the plan. For context, over the course of last 6 months, several outcomes have been contemplated. And this is Richard Arnold, that his view has evolved as the process has progressed. While the ultimate decision rested with him, he is the CEO, it's his decision eventually. He was thinking of taking various factors and views into account before he took the decision. And this is the important part. I think the last two paragraphs of his statement are very important. I'll read verbatim here. So verbatim, Richard Arnold's statement: while I am satisfied that Mason did not commit the acts he was charged with, Mason's accepted that he has made mistakes which he takes responsibility for. I am also mindful of the challenge that Mason would face rebuilding his career and raising a baby together with his partner in the harsh spotlight of Manchester United. Further, this case has provoked strong opinions, and it is my responsibility to minimize any distractions to the unity we are seeking within the club. Although we have decided that Mason will seek to rebuild his career away from Manchester United, that does not signal the end of this matter. The club will continue to offer its support both to the alleged victim and Mason to help them rebuild and move forward positively with their lives. Thank you for your continued support, Richard Arnold. End quote. I think it was drawn in the public. When it's in the public eye, you see the videos, you see the audio footage, you hear the audio footage, you quickly form an opinion of which way you're going to fall. You have to understand, he's a very young man, 21 years old. He's a boy who made him. I'm not defending him. He's made a mistake. He has accepted that mistake. He's a brilliant footballer. Manchester United, he's been with Manchester United since age 6 or 7. United have had, they have been waiting for Mason Greenwood to kind of burst into the scene. He was playing for England as well. So we're not talking about a small player. Mason Greenwood could have been the face of England football. That's the level that we're talking about. And that's why Mason Greenwood's and Manchester United's decision to not let Mason Greenwood play for United is so important. It would have been difficult. It would have been a very difficult decision for him to make, for Richard Arnold to make. I am not, there is no doubt in my mind that would have been a very tough call. But what Richard Arnold is basically saying that we're not letting him go. He's not free from, he is still part of Manchester United family. We will support him. And there is a morality here as well. You have to understand there are two ways of it. There's a commercial side and a moral side of it. He does not want to lose the value of Mason Greenwood because of this. Richard Arnold feels that Mason Greenwood can go somewhere else, shine, play amazing. People might just want him back at Manchester United. At that time, things might be different. The opinions might have changed because Manchester United eventually is a public traded group. The Glazers are thinking about the stock price, like how this will crash, like all the different activist groups that might come in and kind of cause a stir for this club, because it's a big club. It's a huge club. Manchester United, it's not a small club. It's a huge following, and such kind of matters. Mason Greenwood and the allegations against him, they've been dropped. He's free. He is not a guy guilty anymore. He's not a boy who is guilty anymore. But then this has been brought to the public in social media, and this has been kind of brought up in a very, very difficult and a different way. Support groups for Mason Greenwood have been trying to think like it is okay, he can come back, but then you need to think about the Manchester United's dressing room, the aura, how will that affect if you have the women's team? The Lionesses were playing in the final. Like, how does this kind of the global stage for Manchester United? That's, I think, in view as well. It's in one way it's the best outcome for both, because people would expect him to kind of stop playing. That's how if it's a media trial, people would want him to stop playing football forever. But that's all he has done. He's a talented youngster. He made mistakes. He's made a mistake. He's made a grave mistake. Possibly this is one of those things where you have a chance to kind of be the face of England football, and you have just blown this away forever. There is no chance he's going to play for England ever. And he knows that. They're trying to find a deal for him to kind of move away from the club so he can still keep playing football. United will support him. If he gets a deal, that's good for him. He moves away from the spotlight for a couple of years. I don't think if they try to bring him back to Manchester, there might be a different story altogether. But then this will take time for him to heal out of this. United were in a very sticky spot. They have a player who has been accused of who's been accused of really, really bad Yeah, the allegations are really, really damning, to be very precise. And he would have, that mistake this is the call to all the youngsters as well. You have the success can't get to your head, because it's a very cruel world. It's you need to be responsible. You can't take things lightly. Your behavior is very important. You can't behave the way Mason Greenwood has behaved in this episode. He's a phenomenal football player, but then if you're back home and there's a domestic abuse issue happening, you're not in control of your emotions, and you're kind of, you're not able to hold off your emotion. That's a big issue that you need to kind of deal with. Get yourself some help, speak to people, speak to a therapist, try to get an understanding of your anger issues, why you're kind of getting into that. I don't want to delve into this. This was a very serious matter, which I feel like I had to do a very kind of specific video for this, to talk about the Mason Greenwood and Richard Arnold's statement, the part of it that I read. I'll just go over Mason Greenwood's statement in verbatim, and in quotes. I'll start. Mason Greenwood's statement, quotes: I want to start by saying I understand that people will judge me because of what they have seen and heard on social media, and I know people will think the worst. I was brought up to know that violence or abuse in any relationship is wrong. I do not do the things I was accused of. I did not do the things that I was accused of. And in February, I was cleared of all charges. However, I fully accept I made mistakes in my relationships, and I take my share of responsibility for the situations which led to the social media post. I am learning to understand my responsibilities to set a good example as a professional footballer, and I'm focused on the big responsibility of being a father as well as a good partner. Today's decision has been part of a collaborative process between Manchester United, my family, and me. The best decision for all of us is for me to continue my football career away from Old Trafford, where my presence will not be a distraction for the club. I thank the club for their support since I joined aged 7. There will always be a part of me which is united. I am enormously grateful to my family and all my loved ones for their support, and it is now for me to repay the trust those around me have shown. I intend to be a better footballer, but most importantly, a good father, a better person, and to use my talents in a positive way on and off the pitch. End quote. Mason Greenwood, all the best to you and your family and your partner. Hope you have a good career in any which way, form, and is possible. It was a pleasure watching you as a Manchester United fan. You've given us moments, and you've excited us on the pitch, like with your game. I hope you have good luck away from the club, from the limelight, and from all the media around you. Wish you all the best. For my subscribers, do like this video, do share, and do subscribe, and let me know, what do you think about the Mason Greenwood situation? Did Manchester United do the best that they could, or there was something more harsher or easier that they could do? I'm sure you've all have been divided with this. As a Manchester United fan, I myself have been. It's been hard to looking at it, reading this, and feeling like, how are we as a club not able to kind of get a decision and move on? It's finally come to a close. As Mason says, it's the best for all. But we are a Red Devil, so he will be always a Red Devil for us. We will always support him. It's tough moments like this when you need more support. So do like this video, do share, and do subscribe, and do share your comments. What do you think? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.